So one of the things that we typically do this time of year is a series of local faith leaders discussing Love Your Neighbor. This is really the ground what we've been doing here for 5.5 years in that concept of Love Your Neighbor and what does it mean, what are its real implications if you take it seriously. It has gotten more special meaning this year. You've probably seen the Love Your Neighbor signs that are not ours, but that are the similar message that have sprouted up recently, and it started in Woodbury with the St. Paul Episcopal Church, and we're glad to have with us today in the return engagement the Reverend Rupp from St. Paul's Episcopal Church to come and talk to us about the signs, about Love Your Neighbor, and about where we are in the fall of 2025. So please welcome back Reverend Rupp.
Woo! Hi everybody, good afternoon. Thank you so much for having me here today. Rick, thank you so much for inviting me. I appreciate your invitation and the work that you're doing, the visibility that you create for so many of the things that many of us care about deeply, and are really literally putting our bodies in place for doing the work of loving your neighbor and speaking for many, even if we're doing it our signs and our practice. So thank you so much for your work. So recently, our church has been attacked by some other communities because of the pride flag that we hang on our sign, the symbol not only of that all people are beautiful, that all people are made uniquely and perfectly in the image of God, as we would say in my own faith tradition, and that whoever you are, however you've been uniquely, beautifully, perfectly made, that you belong, and you are a welcome member of the household of God. That's so important for us to share. And not everybody agrees with that. That's their right to agree with that. I don't think it's good practice. And in my own faith tradition, I think it's bad faith. It's a bad faith argument. It's a bad faith argument to make baseless accusations. We could retaliate. That certainly is something culturally that people do. We could do a lot of other things as a way of pursuing a different narrative, but I don't think that's what my faith is asking of me. The great teacher, Rabbi Jesus, invites us to a different way of life, and so many of his followers through the centuries have invited us to different ways of life as well. There's nothing about me that compares to the life and the prophetic work of Dr. Martin Luther King, but what I do take is as much of his spark as I can and bring it to my little corner of the world. And when Dr. King said that darkness cannot drive out darkness, only light can do that, I take that to heart and do the best with that I can, even in a small way. So when we were experiencing, and continue in some ways to experience, some ugly critique, I felt that the best thing to do, rather than amplify that message, was to amplify the most important message. When Jesus, the great teacher, was asked what the most important commandment was, he, without hesitation, said that the most important commandment was to love God with all your heart, all your soul, all your mind, and all your strength, and to love your neighbor as yourself. Though all three things are an equivalency, but the love of God, the love of neighbor, and the love of self are all part of a holy triangle on which a good life is supported. I believe that with my whole being, that our salvation as a people, as a planet, as a society, and as a community here in Southbury, Woodbury, in Northwest Connecticut, our state and beyond, our salvation depends on each other, depends on one another. First, do not do those things which you would not have done to yourself. Second, to go out of your way to make it possible for other people that you live with to have vitality, to live to live into their humanity and to live into the mutual ways in which we must take care of each other in community. When I say love your neighbor, that doesn't necessarily mean we're always going to like our neighbor. It doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to agree with our neighbor or even be best friends with our neighbor. It does mean that we're bound up in care, a duty of care for one another, and creating enough trust between each other that I can say, I don't necessarily want to hang out with you, but I've got your best interests in mind to the degree that I can allow you to live your life without fear of attack or reprisal, without having my common or your common humanity called into question. Love your neighbor is not a feeling, it's a process. Love your neighbor is not an emotion, it's a practice. And so what I say is that our signs are not a bludgeon. Our signs are an invitation, a reminder to the holy practice, allowing others the opportunity to live and move and have their being in community. A reminder that all of us are bound up with one another. Our well-being, our happiness, our best interests are bound up with allowing, supporting one another. Thank you again so much for having me here, especially on this cold, wet day. The warmth is present in this space that you create each and every Sunday. Thank you for your faithful work. May you be blessed richly, and may your work be blessed abundantly in this community and so many communities beyond. Thank you so much.
Thank you.